this video is going to be all about the very elusive shoulder girdle. It's going to cover how we can create space in the shoulders, how we can kind of integrate the shoulder and ribcage connection in our movement, and how we can move through the different positionings of our shoulder joints in a way that feels functional and sustainable. All right, so again, I recommend having a block, but if you don't, a stack of books could work, or anything similar. We'll start out just in a nice kind of quadruped position. That's going to be elbows down today, and I want your knees just maybe a little wider than your hips, just slightly more open. We're going to find the palms facing up towards the sky, and then from here, I want you to begin by just hugging the back of the ribcage up towards the ceiling. And right away, kind of pressing the elbows into the floor to create this feeling of spread across the back ribs. Head is just kind of finding a little neutral position, so just gently lift it up so it's kind of in line with the rest of your spine. We're going to start here and then begin to kind of pull the elbows backwards as though they were trying to touch your knees. Now, this is all an internal sensation. Your elbows are not physically going to move this way. They are just pulling on the floor or the mat, whatever surface you're on, as your ribs continue to hug up towards the sky. You're going to keep pulling those elbows towards the knees as your hips begin to rock backwards. And then once you kind of reach that point where if you went any further, your ribs would start to kind of fall forward, we're going to return back to where we started. So this is a great method to just introduce space and spread into an area that is often very, very compressed from either stress, breath mechanics, posture, whatever your journey is to having compression in the back ribs. This is going to help you. Right? Ribs kind of pulling up and into the body as you rock the hips back. You're maintaining that deep pull of the elbows towards the knees. Okay? This one can be a little bit more exploratory, so if you find that, if I go a little bit to the left with my hips, I get some nice stuff happening. Right? Or maybe going to the right. Just kind of play around. But the most important thing is that we're keeping that slight kind of lift and rounding up through the back ribs. Okay, we'll take about 3 more here. Right, perhaps you're feeling some engagement underneath your armpits or along the sides of the ribs. That's awesome too. Feel the elbows pulling backwards towards the knees. Okay, one more time. Okay, now we're going to grab our block. We're going to take the block. If you were on an all-fours position, the block would be kind of in between the hands. You're going to take your left forearm and land it on the block. Palm is still facing to the sky. Your right hand has a couple options. If it feels okay for you, the right hand could come onto the forearm itself. If that doesn't feel good the pressure doesn't feel good, you're kind of able to place it on the opposite side of that block, so kind of like you're crisscrossing the wrist. Right? Just feel out what pressure point feels okay for you. But the main thing we want here is the forearm pressing down, the ribs pressing up, and then we're going to think of the back of our head, the back of our ribs, doing like a big rainbow arcing action. Up and over towards the left, while we are simultaneously pressing that left forearm into the block. We come back up, we reset. So it's a pushing down, we're lighting up some nice stuff on the outside of the shoulder, the outside of that upper arm, and then we're arcing over, maintaining that press into the block. Yeah, give you a slightly different angle change here so you can see. Here we go, up and over, 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 big rainbow arc. Okay, and the goal is never about getting to the floor. We don't care about the floor here. We care about the lift. We're lifting up the ribs, the arcing over, and this is creating a lot of space into the back of that left shoulder head. Maybe you're getting stuff up into your shoulder blade. Maybe you're getting stuff into the upper traps. Some people even experience sensations up into their head. Some people, yeah. So you might get a lot of different things going, right? You are good to go as long as you are pressing that forearm down and maintaining the connection as you rotate. Okay, last time on this side. We're gonna work with that same forearm. We'll come off of our knees for a bit. I'm gonna come onto my right side. For the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna be up on the forearm so you can kind of see me better, but you could be lying all the way flat as well. Now, left arm. We're gonna work through some articulations of the ball and socket of our shoulder, right? So I want you to imagine right now, you extend the left arm, kind of see where the inner armpit, inner bicep area meets, right? I want you to imagine there's like a little sticker there, a little smiley face, right on this area, okay? We're gonna keep that in mind as we work these rotations. The arm's gonna extend long. Want your palm up towards the sky, okay? See how when your palm is up, the smiley face is kind of turning towards the camera, and when the palm is down, see how the smiley face is getting hidden, okay? So this is external rotation of the upper arm, this is internal rotation. So now, let's find a place where the palm is facing the mirror. We're gonna start by cutting this arm across the body, and I want you to try to have that little smiley face area kind of shining up towards the ceiling for as long as possible. And when you feel like it's starting to turn this way, when you kind of get to this maximum flexion area, you're gonna spin that imaginary smiley face to face away from you, turning the arm inward as it comes behind, okay? We're gonna keep that. The arm comes forward, externally rotate it as the arm passes the head. You're gonna eventually find that sticky spot where I have to internally rotate it in order to get it behind me. All right, we'll do two more like this in this direction, rotating externally as the arm goes up. And rotating internally, really fighting for that internal rotation. Okay, I want you to imagine here that you are moving through honey. You're moving with a lot of resistance in that arm, right? You're not just kind of swishing it around passively. Very cool. Let's reverse that. We'll have the palm facing back. Imagine that upper arm really turning inward. Keep turning it in for as long as you possibly can. And then, once the arm starts to come overhead, it's going to begin finding that external rotation again. It's going to pass in front of you, right? I'm going to do that twice more. Push back, overhead, up and over, up and over. Nice. Two more times. Internally rotating on the way back. Feel that spread across the front of your armpit, spread across the chest. Rotate, 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 circle. Yeah. Last two. Nice. And this last one, move with the thickness, like you're really, really tensing as you're moving through space. Yeah. And then relax. Okay, we're going to start our little rainbow arc action on the other side. So you can grab your block once again. Right. So you're coming to all fours. Block would be in between the hands on this long ways. You're going to take the right forearm down. Maybe left hand is able to press into your forearm. Maybe it's off to the side. You find in that position. Again, where you can hug the ribs up and in. You arc the head, the back of the ribs, up and over to the right.
arms trying to push down into the floor, right? You're maintaining the resistance all throughout the movement. Yeah. Pushing down. Okay? There's temptation to go straight down. I think you have to go up more than you think in order to arc over to the right for this movement. Okay, let's take 3 more of those. Up and over, up and over. Good, last 2, pressing down, up with the ribs. Right here, coming a little closer to the floor. Good, last one, slightly different ankle change. Ooh. And as you come out of that, we'll ditch the block. We'll come into that sideline position on the left. Right, you could be all the way down. I'll be up on the elbow. Okay, we're gonna start again. Check in with the right arm. This is external rotation, internal rotation, right? See how the actual upper part of your arm changes position. It's not just the hand, it's not just the elbow, right? The actual top of your arm. Now, we're gonna cross that arm in front of us. The inner bicep is trying its best to stay rotating up towards the ceiling. When we reach that kind of stopping point, we're gonna turn the bicep to face the other way. And then repeat that. External rotation, palm is really working to stay up. Triceps are trying to turn towards the floor, and then reverse that, turn the biceps down. Okay. And again, especially if you are someone who experiences hypermobility, or stuff like this feels kind of funky for you, it's never felt quite right, I really encourage you to imagine, like, you're moving through the honey, right? I like to imagine sometimes like there's like a 40-pound ankle weight on my wrist, right? How would you move if there was that much weight that you were kind of working against? It'll change the quality a little bit, might become a little clearer. We're going to reverse that. Go internal rotation, upper arm is turning inward. You go back as far as you can. That internal rotation, spiral to external, allow the arm to circle forward. We repeat, internal spiral. Arm goes up and over. Carry that arm all the way back. Yeah, to where you started. Internal on the way back. External, as you reach the top, try to turn that palm towards the ceiling. Last time back. Up and over. Spin your armpit, your biceps. Yes, and then return. Okay, amazing. Next thing we're gonna do is grab onto that block. We're gonna come onto our backs, and we're gonna find our knees bent for now, about hip-width distance apart. You're going to take that block and just bring it between your elbows, like this. The short edges are between the elbows and your palms are facing your head. The elbows are kind of roughly stacked over the armpits. Now, I want you to just think about kind of pushing the tips of your elbows towards the ceiling, feeling your shoulder blades protract and widen. And then you're just going to allow the shoulder blades to move back to the floor behind you. So we're picturing the elbows, the upper arms, and the bottom tips of your shoulder blades kind of reaching forward together. We're feeling the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, the upper arms, and the elbows sliding back. Okay, this is just a very subtle difference between this and kind of elevating the shoulders in order to reach forward. Yeah, so think of almost like an undercurve, like the tips of the shoulder blades are kind of scooping down, the upper arms are scooping down and out, the elbows are scooping down and out. And you'll notice how that actually might position your rib cage a little bit heavier into the mat behind you, which we want. Okay. Now the next time that you scoop forward, try not to go to the most extreme back down. As the block is sliding up, I want your elbows to scoop forward even more in order to bring that block up over your face. And then back down. So elbows go forward and then you slide the block up. Yeah. Check in with the ribs. The bottom rib should be anchoring into the mat. We've got it for 2. And then as you return that block back to where you started, elbows over the armpits, I want you to turn the palms in. We're just gonna add a little tricep work here. You're gonna start to squeeze the elbows into the block and then extend your arms all the way up to the sky, maintaining the elbows pressing in. You're gonna bend at the elbows, return. You're gonna press into those elbows, extend. Now your goal here is to try and not let the elbows kind of do this number as you're extending. We want to freeze the upper arms like statues. They're going to stay where they are. Elbows are going to stay where they are. You're just going to straighten. Okay. Little bonus points if you can maybe think about pulling the hands slightly away from each other. That's going to kind of reinforce that rotation in your upper arms even more. It is so hard when you're right in that positioning. Yeah. 3 more here, just with the triceps. For 2. Good, last one, give a nice strong exhale, breathe out, and relax your arms. Okay, nice work with those. From here, last thing we're gonna work on today, it's gonna be a nice all fours position. I'm gonna have you position the block long ways in between your shoulder blades, like so. Okay. Once you could just find a nice spread, all 10 fingers into the floor, toes tucked behind you. We're just gonna find this little moment of kind of sinking, allowing the shoulder blades to just kind of slide toward one another. And then I want you to just press up and kind of feel that space between your shoulder blades gliding up towards your block. Simultaneously, I want you to start feeling how the sides of the ribs and the tips of the shoulder blades relate to each other. So when you go down, you kind of feel the shoulder blades move backwards towards the spine. When you come up, you feel the tip of that shoulder blade kind of sliding out to meet the side of the rib cage here. Okay, so just take a few of these dips. We come together, we press, we feel the bottom tips of those shoulder blades reaching towards the heels of your hands. Last 2. We're going to do the same thing with a little hover in the left. You're going to feel your right shoulder blade come in, your left palm will touch the floor, and then you're going to feel a little push to elevate back up. I'll turn this way so you can see a little better. We come down, we feel that shoulder blade gliding back, and then we push, we feel this kind of tip of the shoulder blade reaching down the side of the ribs, all the way down the back of the arm into the heel of that hand. Yeah. Through line. Nice. For 2. Last one. Exhale, push, push, push. And then from there, we'll take that on the other side. So, left hand on the block. Right hand finds a little hover in the air, and we're going to start to dip down, right? Shoulder blade comes towards the spine. As you come up, really press from here. Yeah, inhale, release down, find that relaxation. Exhale, tip of the shoulder blade comes down. You reach all the way down to the heel of your left hand. Okay, we're going to do that. Up and down for 5. 2. And final press here. Now just ditch the block, move it off to the side. We're gonna find this kind of putting it all together moment. Toes are gonna tuck. You're gonna spread all 10 fingers wide. I want you to glide those shoulder blades in. Press the shoulder blades apart, get wide across the back of your ribs. You're gonna hover the knees up. Now right there, can we feel, as we start to kind of press the hips back into this little bent leg downward dog position, can we feel that what is leading us is that push from right along the side of the ribs, kind of under that shoulder blade, that serratus anterior muscle starts to activate in order to push the hips back. Yeah, so we're pushing down through the hands, we're pushing through the serratus, we're sending the hips back in response to that. Okay, we're gonna do that just for 3 more. Push through the sides of the ribs, push through the tips of the shoulder blades. Right, last 2, exhale, push those hips back. Okay, being conscious of where your rib cage is, make sure it's not flaring forward too much.